Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Code Realize Guardian Rebirth. Of course, we're still on Lupin's trail because we're finishing up the game as he is the last guy. And right now we're actually feeling sorry for Finis because Daddy didn't love him as much as us. And that's why it makes it okay that he's a psychopath, because he just wants Daddy's love. And for some reason he thinks that if we both die for Father that he will love us and everything will be okay and happy and hunky-dory. So I guess we have to either persuade him otherwise, or maybe he'll realize that in his dying moment. Or not, who knows. Let's see how things go. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. If only you didn't exist. He grabs me by the throat, his fingers digging into my flesh through the fabric of my shirt. I am unable to resist at all. All I can do is drift slowly into the darkness. The silence is thick, making the ticking of the clock seem unnaturally loud. We're currently all gathered in a deserted factory, which is being used as the base for the provisional government. I don't know whose voice this is supposed to be, because apparently this is the guys and Cardia's not with them. Okay, so sorry that it's a mistake. I'm just gonna go ahead and read it as Cardia until I know who's talking here. We're currently all gathered in a deserted factory, which is being used as the base for the provisional government. Oh, okay, so it is Lupin speaking. Okay. Myself, Van Helsing, Victor, Impy, Saint Germain, Delacour II, Sholmes, Victoria, and Leonhardt. Wow, even the royalty's here, huh? And other government and military staff. The primary members who survived the earlier battle have all gathered here. Let's go over the current state of affairs. Victoria's expression is stern as she says this. The mission to take back control of St. Paul's Cathedral was a success. We've put down most of the rebelling forces left in London, and those that remain won't pose a problem. And yet, we are still unable to return to the palace. That behemoth glaring down on all of us from the sky makes Buckingham Palace too big a target to risk going back there. Would it be possible to use the turrets along the outer wall to shoot it down? One of the military men poses a question. It's too high in the air, and it's difficult to tell if firing on it will prove to have any effect at all. But how can such a large craft even stay aloft? It doesn't look like something a few gas bags can manage. We have an expert who can speak to that, Mr. Impy Barbicane. At Victoria's bidding, Impy stands up. He seems to have a much more serious look on his face than usual. The Nautilus flies due to the effects of a special device called the gravity alleviator. Impy goes on to provide a simple explanation of how it works. The gravity alleviator. The very thing Impy has been looking for. How ironic that this is how he finally finds it, after so much searching. Nobody on Earth is a bigger advocate for peace than Impy. And yet, the device he created is about to be used to start a war. He won't stand for this. According to Impy, we should sneak onto the Nautilus and disable the device. The most effective course of action would be to rid the Nautilus of its buoyancy and cause it to crash. There is something I'd like to add regarding the Nautilus. Victor is the next to speak up. The poison gas weapon that the Nautilus deployed earlier. That gas is most likely Zicterium, which was a secret weapon during the Vampire War. Those in attendance break out into a murmur. It was produced in large quantities during the war, but then disappeared. Perhaps Finis had been hiding it all along. Delacour II, who had already been warned in advance of this by Victor, still frowns, clearly displeased. There's no question that allowing the Nautilus to roam free will cause many more to become victims of that weapon. Victoria nods emphatically. Thank you for the explanation. I'll keep that in mind, Dr. Frankenstein. The Queen sighs quietly. Let us review Isaac's and Finis's plan once more. Victoria turns her steely eyes to me. I stand up, thinking it appropriate that I be the one to explain this, since I was the one who confronted Finis directly. All eyes are on me. Code Realize is what Finis said was the name of the plan that Isaac put together. It's a plot to start a war that will involve every nation in the world and will last for an eternity. Apparently, there will be an absolute power controlling the evils of society, leading humanity into an endless war. The goal of this constant war is to spur the advancement of civilization through the invention of better technology. This will eventually elevate human society to a level which is currently forbidden to all but God, and that's what they're after. No matter how many times I hear it, it sounds like such an abstract, long-reaching, and ambitious plan. I suppose the mind of a genius can never be truly understood. She sighs, then continues. However, we cannot allow Britain to be lost to the same insane plot. Victoria announces an all-out attack to be made in 5 days' time, and orders all forces to be gathered to face the Nautilus. Everyone in the room has a dark look on their face. The heavy toll on the battle for St. Paul's Cathedral. That, coupled with the appearance of the Nautilus, and the damage done by the use of Zicterium. It's fair to say that everyone is worn out by recent events, and our outlook isn't too optimistic. That goes even for my friends, and I myself probably have a dark expression on my face. Once the situation meeting has been called to an end, the military and government personnel all leave and start their tasks. Victoria's urge to fight on to the bitter end is driving all of them. And as for me, I stay behind, alone in the abandoned factory, looking absent-mindedly at the filthy ceiling. How is she? Is she waiting for me, in the belief that I'll come for her? Or... I click my tongue as an unwelcome image comes to mind. Cardia has been taken away because of my failure. What could she be going through, even now as I sit here? Thinking this only makes me more anxious. And that's why. I'm going to save Cardia. I can't wait 5 days. I return to St. Germain's mansion and enter Impy's engineering studio. That's where I find what I'm looking for. Oh, he's gonna borrow the ornithopter. The ornithopter. I give it a quick once-over. Always one to be prepared, Impy made sure it was ready for takeoff at any time. I hesitate. Shouldn't you consult Impy on this first? What are my chances of succeeding if I go alone? What are the chances that I'll even get close to the Nautilus? The logical part of me tells me not to do it. This isn't brave, it's reckless, suicidal. My hands ball into fists. I can almost hear the rain in the back of my mind. For some reason, the image of my teacher's beaten, lifeless body comes to mind. I didn't want... It's not like I wanted to punish him for what he did. I didn't want things to end that way. I just wanted him to go back to how he was, for things to return to the way they used to be. And yet... That's right. I made the wrong choice when it really mattered, and I lost someone I truly respected. I might as well have killed him myself. I don't ever want to go through that again. I'm going to... And where do you think you're going with that? I hear a voice from behind me. I turn around to find Van Helsing, leaning against the wall, watching me coldly. Why is he here? Did he follow me? Sorry, but I sensed something was off. I followed you here. The question must have been plain on my face, for he answered it casually. For someone normally as paranoid as you not to notice me so obviously tailing you. You must have been pretty deep in thought, I take it. Van Helsing turns his gaze on the ornithopter. Were you planning on going alone? I nod slightly. Cardia, she's in danger. I don't have time to wait for the military. Fitness's objective is her horologium. If he takes that away from her, she'll... Huh. What's so amusing? What I find amusing is that you're so flustered that you're going to your own death. It's so unlike you I had to laugh. I don't have any witty response to that, so I say nothing. You're not going without your rationality. Think it through again. He's right. But I can't just give up. What's the rush? Don't thieves need the patience to wait for an opportunity to present itself before they strike? The woman I love is in danger. She could even be dead. How can I not be in a rush? I'm shouting, despite myself. I see Cardia's face again, when we spoke right before the battle at St. Paul's Cathedral. She said she became human. Her smile when she had said this is still burned into my heart. She was finally able to smile from the bottom of her heart. Her happiness is just beginning. I'll do anything to protect that smile. If I don't go, who will? Van Helsing just stares at me, and the empty silence compels me to keep talking. The British troops are exhausted from all the fighting they've been doing. Victoria gave them 5 days, but who knows how long it will take to put together a force that could fight that behemoth. There's no time to waste. I'd rather die than lose her. Don't try to stop me, Van Helsing. Stop you? Who said anything about stopping you? I'm saying you'll need as much manpower as possible to go up against that monster. For a moment, I don't grasp his meaning, and I frown. But the manpower he speaks of... Are you saying... Van Helsing smiles, just a little. I'm just not a fan of those ignorant fools up there. Take me with you. We'll bring down that thing before they even know it. I'm coming too, obviously. I've been searching for that thing all this time, and I aim to keep a promise I made. We can't let them use Dicterium however they please, either. My eyes grow wide as I see Impy and Victor appear. You guys, how? You look like you had a lot weighing on you at the meeting, and Impy and I figured that you'd be here. Impy shrugs to confirm Victor's reasoning. So they pretty much read my mind. I'm thankful to my friends, but at the same time I feel a bit pathetic. So, we have ourselves a little strike force here, but how are we going to get into the Nautilus? There's no way that we'll all fit on the Ornithopter. As we're discussing this... Well, so you've gone ahead and started this discussion without me. Don't you all think that's a little cold? Looks like the gang's all here. Saint Germain smiles elegantly, as usual, and then looks straight at me. I have a suggestion. Most likely, it is the one way that we can save her. We notice 2 figures behind Saint Germain. One is a heavily armored woman, and the other is an elderly lady in a wheelchair. Neither of them seems very suited for a place like this. I'll lend you a hand, Mr. Gentleman Thief. The elderly woman smiles as she says this. We all gather at the abandoned factory once more. My friends as well as the women, who Saint Germain introduces as Omnibus and Guinevere. Victoria can't hide her surprise at meeting the newcomers. So, you 2 are from Idea. Your organization is only mentioned in lore passed down in the royal family. A secret organization controlling history. Yes, it's as you say. And the fact that we've come out of the shadows now should be an indication of how great a crisis humanity is facing now. We of Idea desire the destruction of Isaac Beckford and all his creations. There's no time for making grand speeches. What's this plan you have to go against the Nautilus? The destruction of his creations, that's a little unsettling, but I'd like to hear them out before dealing with that. You're right. Saint Germain, can I leave the rest to you? The Count nods and steps forward. Cardia, she is now in the hands of Finis. Unfortunately, we cannot wait 5 days. Isaac's pawns are all on the board. If we give him that much time, it'll be too late. Still, that's the reality we face if we do want to give the military a chance to fight. What does Idea want me to do? Please, gather as much of your forces as you can by tomorrow night. Tomorrow? That's impossible! We won't be able to put up a resistance with whatever we're able to pull together that quickly. You will, if Idea cooperates. Idea's apostles will cast a spell to create an enormous magical barrier that can protect you all. That should protect your airships from the attack by the Nautilus. Magic? Ridiculous! Haha, magic does sound ridiculous, doesn't it? And yet, it exists. In the long history of mankind, there have always been things going on outside your understanding. You just haven't seen them. After this exchange, Saint Germain continues. Then, a fleet of airships shall act as a diversion. Saint Germain looks over at me. While Lupin and the others enter the Nautilus covertly, they will bring down the ship before Isaac can be revived. Lupin, can you do it? I smile in response. Who do you think I am? Nothing is impossible for this gentleman thief. We're counting on you. Victoria, your cooperation is crucial to this battle. Will you fight with us? So you're telling me that a secret society that runs the world will protect us with magic if we risk our lives? Victoria covers her mouth, looking like she can barely keep herself from bursting into laughter. It's like a fairy tale. Magic? In this age of science and discovery, how preposterous! Victoria laughs for some time. And then she looks at Omnibus with a serious expression. Very well, I'm in. I was always quite fond of fairy tales, you know. So, have we established a cooperative agreement here? Yes, I have no objections. I am unable to come up with any bright ideas, crush the Nautilus other than rely on a fairy tale. Hey, don't you forget the most important thing now. The women look over at me. Rescuing my precious princess? This is non-negotiable. I take a good look at Omnibus. When you said you would destroy everything Isaac created, you meant her too, didn't you? Ha! I see that wasn't lost on you. The old woman closes her eyes for some time. When she slowly opens them, she turns them to me. All right. If we are able to accomplish everything else, we promise not to touch her. Are you sure? According to my predictions, the fall of mankind has already been determined by this point. If this prediction is proven wrong, what use is there for any of my other prophecies about the rest of the future? Omnibus says this with a smile. She seems serious. Then, I'm ready for this. All right, I'm going aboard the Nautilus to see its destruction. Your Highness, Omnibus, are you fine with that? I have no objections. From what I saw of your skills when you rescued me from the palace, I can think of no one more suited. Then it's decided. Let's get ready. Sounds good. Looks like this is going to be the decisive battle. Lupin, I will come along with you as well. I'll do my best to save her. I nod, then exhale. I can always count on my friends. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't anxious anymore. But at least now we stand a better chance of rescuing her. And that's enough for me at the moment. Let's go! It's our final battle! Everyone nods, each with their own sense of determination. Hang in there, Cardia! I mutter under my breath, gripping my fist tightly. Not even half a day later, preparations for tomorrow evening have officially begun. Some of the rebel fighters turned coats, and many civilians joined voluntarily. The government's forces are even greater in number now than they were before the attack on St. Paul's. However, both weapons and soldiers are beyond exhaustion, and it would be quite difficult to turn things around. In addition, with the Nautilus being a floating fortress, there is a need to get airborne if there is to be a fight at all. Victoria takes measures to cover these problems. She promises a huge sum of money and a knighthood to anyone who would join the operation to destroy the Nautilus. She makes the proclamation in several newspapers, and word spreads quickly across the entire nation. The nobility and those seeking honor. Sky pirates and criminals who only care about the reward money. Those dazzled by greed arrive in droves, flying into London on airships. Speaking to people's immediate desires seems to be a much more effective way to rally people than touting justice. But once they have come, Victoria uses her eloquence to transform all those who have gathered into patriots. I can't help but acknowledge her abilities as the Queen of Britain, who has had experience butting heads against the world. And then there were others. Those who were nervous about the future of London. Those who lost someone they cared about in the fires that blazed across the city. The arena previously used to house the Black Gathering has been set up as an aerodrome and is overflowing with airships. Meanwhile, in the suburbs of London, Idea's magical force field is about complete. Royal alchemists and members of the Royal Society have been called upon for this task. Surprisingly, many within the alchemic and scientific communities already have a deep knowledge of magic. And the apostles have been selecting those with an aptitude for it to help them. Who would have thought that we would be flying into battle amidst a massive floating fortress protected by wizards? I can understand why Victoria would laugh. It all sounds so impossible in the supposed age of rational thinking. Saint Germain, a member of Idea, is making preparations with Victor's help. Van Helsing is training citizens how to handle weapons. And Impy is modifying an airship to prepare it for entering the Nautilus. I am in the headquarters, re-examining and revising the plan as necessary. I would have thought that the Nautilus would take this time to attack, but it remains silent above the city. According to Omnibus, it's probably going to remain that way until Isaac has been fully resurrected. That works in our favor. Everyone in London right now is desperately preparing for battle. Not just the military and people from the government. Everyone here, for whatever reason. We're all aware that this battle will be crucial. Time passes quickly. Before I know it, an entire day has gone by. Our final attack will be taking place in just a few hours' time. There is little time before the mission. I'm taking a walk through a residential neighborhood to collect my thoughts. I wonder if she's looking out at the same sunset from above the clouds. Or, this is no time for weakness. I mutter to myself. She's fine. It's all right. It's all right. Suddenly, a vision of that rainy day flickers into my head, as if to intensify my moment of weakness. Damn it! What is this? Why do I keep going back to these horrible memories at a time like this? I slam my fist against the wall, trying to drive the memory out of me. You seem upset. I didn't notice Van Helsing behind me until just now. Again? You're losing your touch, Lupin. I never see him coming, as usual. What? You are supposed to be training people how to fight, aren't you? Do you have time to follow me around? I'm risking my life to carry out your decision. It makes me a bit uneasy to see you like this. Don't worry. Who do you think I am? I'm the one and only Arsene Lupin. You're doing a bad job of hiding your inner conflict. It's unlike you. He cuts me off. I know I'm not at the top of my game like I usually am. I've stolen anything and everything. I'm the one and only Arsene Lupin. I've never flinched, no matter how rare and expensive the prize I've stolen. I filched secrets that would ruin nations. I've always had nothing but absolute confidence in my abilities and judgment. But look at me now. I'm scared at a time that is so important to be clear-headed. It's so pitiful. What is there to feel pitiful about? His words are so straightforward. It seems so different from his usual circumspect demeanor that I can't help but stare at him wide-eyed. I suppose that girl is more important to you than any expensive gem or information that could ruin a nation. Isn't that what this comes down to? To me, she is. To be honest, I'm confused myself. I don't know what to do. When I was a boy, I was desperate to survive. When I was in training, I was desperate to learn how to be a thief. When I was betrayed, I was desperate to carry out my own version of justice. I've always been desperate for something. I won't say I've never been in love. I remember Cardia's smile. Her face when she happily told me that she knew she was a real person. But she and I are probably similar in that. Neither one of us was ever fully human. Oh, you weren't a human up till now. How very bizarre. You understand what I mean? I'm a little surprised. No, I don't have a clue what you're going on about. I'm just trying to keep the conversation going. Look at that smile. Yeah, he is the human weapon after all. Well, that ruined the moment. It was awkward silence for a second there. Hey, Van Helsing, do you think she's all right? How would I know? If you want an answer to that, search within yourself. I try to do as he suggests. I don't see how self-searching would be able to help him figure out what's going on with Cardia. Surprisingly, I do find the answer. Of course she's fine, and don't you dare try to tell me otherwise. I agree. I laugh along with him. What? When we first met, I never thought the day would come when you'd be consoling me. I didn't come here to make you feel better. True, I have started to feel that it's not so bad to have comrades. I smile and nod to him. There's still some time before nightfall. Let's rest until it's showtime. I start walking, and Van Helsing follows behind me. For no particular reason, I begin to wonder what Van Helsing thinks about Cardia. He loves her too. Van Helsing probably would have helped me rescue Cardia, regardless of whether Finis was involved or not. I'm certain of that. Even when Cardia disappeared, he did earnestly search for her. So, where do his motives lie? Hey, Van Helsing. What is it now? Nothing, never mind. Yeah, don't ask questions you don't want to know the answers to. I ended up not asking. It's probably pointless to ask. Yeah, I don't think he would divulge those kind of feelings anyway. That night, armed airships gathered around the landing pad where everyone is preparing for the operation to begin. There are a great many people here, and each one has his or her own reasons to fight. A siren goes off to signify the start of the mission. Those who were going to board airships had been busy with preparations, but they stopped to watch the ships lift off. You brave men who are about to depart for battle, can you hear me? Victoria's voice is delivered to each of the airships through a connector. Each and every one of you now shoulders the hopes of the world. I'm not going to lie to you. Not everyone will be making it back alive. Some of the listeners go over their flight procedures while they pay attention to her speech. I have said this before. Looking solely at the difference in our forces, we face certain defeat. But, despite that, you are all going up into the air. I praise your bravery from the bottom of my heart. Some of the listeners are praying. Others are looking at pictures of loved ones they have lost. I have one confession to make. Until recently, I had been considering doing something similar to Isaac's plan, albeit for different reasons. The first airship slowly rises into the sky. I was thinking that if a large-scale war were to take place now, Britain would have a greater chance of survival. But seeing what the Nautilus has done, and what it is about to do, seeing these things has shown me that I was mistaken. A second airship follows, then a third. Soon clusters of airships are lifting up into the air. With the moon behind them, the people below see them as silhouettes in the sky. There is no knowing what future will come of the destruction flames. I have finally come to realize that there is no point in repeating a history of slaughter. And the airships are all rising up now. I promise you, justice is what drives us to this battle. Those of you who have stepped up to this challenge are unmistakably heroes. The flock of airships rises higher under the moonlight. Once they reach a certain altitude, they begin to give off a faint glow. It seems they're now under the power of Idea's magic. They almost look like a new galaxy of stars. One of the people on the ground murmurs that it's a beautiful sight. Please, bring us victory. This is far too quiet to be the start of a battle that is about to decide the fate of the world. We cannot allow an eternal war to exist. And, please, be safe. Her voice coming through the communicators is not one to inspire courage. But something in her speech sparks a fire in the audience. It is, in fact, an appropriate start to a battle that will decide the world's future. We're waiting in the forest, watching the flotilla rise up. The losses will be great, Victor murmurs to himself, his gaze still locked on those ascending airships. Idea's protective magic is in effect. They won't fall so easily, but... You don't know what could happen when that fortress decides to attack. Is that it? Everyone's doing their best. They'll bring down the Nautilus no matter what, and save her. I nod slightly along with Impy's words. We should get going. We need to time this right. We're about to follow Saint Germain's suggestion to board our own ship when... two figures emerge from the bush. I'm guessing it's Omnibus and Guinevere, but we are going to have to end that video there, and we'll find out who these two people are in the next video. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you in my future videos, and I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.